So when you see that, reinforce the good behavior, and fix the poor behavior too. But the issue with being in here is, I said earlier about context. Saddle horse size. This is about right, 32 foot, for you to not work hard and he has to do the work. And we'll get some turns. We'll do a little bit of stuff here, hopefully later. But if you had a draft size horse in here, and I've had him in clinics, I mean a full draft size horse in a 30-foot corral, it is too tight. The 45-foot corral works better. I had another clinic where there was a little girl and she had a pony like these guys' size, with a smaller one. And this 30-foot round corral was too big. So it's all about the size context of the horse and what you want to do. So as we go along and get more and more advanced, and he does more and more of what you want to do, now you can expand that corral and he'll do exactly the same thing without you having to move. Oh, he's pushing you. There you go.
Good
and
boy.
we'll have a larger corral, but your effort will be the same as it is in a small corral because he's listening to you. He's taking your cues and he knows what he's got to do. Very good. Very good.
It's kind of funny that you can get so far and then it goes back to...
It's that testing. You know, you don't have kids, but when a little kid, if you've ever babysat, you know how they are. They're going to try it. You tell them it, and then they go like, I'm going to try it anyway. It's exactly the same behavior. So you have to be very, very consistent and Nazi-like about, no, this is the rule. Because if you let it slip one time, they're like, haha, they let it slip. I'll see if I can get away with it again. And then you start to build that struggle for the structure and maintain the structure. He's looking for a friend.
Be a friend, buddy.
Yeah, exactly.
We can be friends.
One of the things you can do when you're in here like this now, and things were working so well. Of course, we got this ride, which was a distraction for us, but it's a good place to stop. We'll start working on turning them on the hinds and fores in here, picking their feet up, doing the initial movements on the hinds and fores set you up for your leg movements in the saddle.
Okay.
I mean, this is all foundational stuff that is so important and makes the training later on so much easier, because when you start to lay that leg on their shoulder or put that foot up on their shoulder, they know that, ooh, I have to step away from that. I'm feeling the pressure, I can move away from it. And, you know, there's lots of different disciplines, you know, with dressage, and I'm not much of a dressage guy. I don't know a lot of it, I should say. I understand what they're doing, but sometimes they'll have a horse work around their leg, which is, you know, they're working into the pressure, where I train where I want that horse to move off of pressure. So it's just different disciplines, which you can teach them. You can teach them whatever you want, and you could do both, because, you know, obviously you can do that too, because I'll have a pressure, forward, back, whatever, and then move them to or from that pressure. So, but most of the time I have them move away from it, and starts in here. Our initial saddling is going to start in here. You're going to start putting pressure on their legs. You know, we got the syllabus, and that's I think that syllabus is about 4.5, 5 pages long, and we'll go through it. It will evolve, because I'll tell you, to be honest with you, I'm trying to do things off the top of my head that I've been doing for 40-some years.
Yeah.
And there's all of these small nuances that you don't think about. Like I said, I take a lot of these things for granted. So we'll work on that, and we'll put it together. We'll note it, and we'll build on that syllabus too. But there are so many things to it that you may cover with one horse one time, and another horse it may take 24 times to cover it. It's all in what they need.
Yeah.
Give them what they need, not what they want. But awesome job. Good job on this.
Thanks.
Yeah.
He's super light.
Very.
It's cool.
It's fun because he's feeling, I can watch him as a third party. I can watch your energy, you bring it up, and he picks up. And then when he started to pick up, you just calmed yourself and just dropped your energy down into your hips and feet, and he calmed right down. So you got a really good control and a mastery of that already, I think more unconsciously than, which is even better, because when you start to consciously do that, you're going to have a lot of ability to really make these horses respond. It'll be excellent.
I'm a little bit overtaken right now. It's really neat. I've done this with a lot of horses, but not in this way. You know, we talked about driving horses, and I've done a lot of that. But for it being the first time, it's really cool.
You did very, very well. You know what? Most of the time, I get in the corral with somebody to work with them because we need to get the shoulders square, but I didn't feel I needed to do that. And I can instruct you because you listen well. But you know, it's about body placement, body positioning, and you were doing everything right. And I didn't even point it out because you were doing it right. And it probably should for, you know, our group to watch, but also for yourself so that you have more of a conscious look at that. And we'll work on that. But it's again, your intuition is very good, and I'm so pleased with that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good boy. I mean, even though he's not terribly distracted.
Not really.
There's a ton going on right now.
This is more activity than he's ever seen in his life, ever. And look how he's handling it. Yeah. No, this is very, very good. Very good.
Good boy. Good boy. They're all giving Quolo a wide berth.
They are. He's keeping them on the outside of the rail. Oh my God. Sending them off.
Good boy.
That's funny.
So, here's a question about nudging.
Yep.
A second ago when he nudged me, that was pretty obvious. It was a big nudge.
Yep.
Or a minute ago, rather.
Yep. No, I saw it, and you corrected it.
But when they just, you know, they're just touching you, how do you feel about that?
It depends on, again, the context. If I'm there and I want them to, and they do it, that's okay. But if there's no purpose for it, then I don't want them to initiate contact unless I ask for it.
Okay.
Right? So if I haven't asked for it, no, don't do it. If I've asked for it, then it's okay. Again, every single thing they do is because you allow it or you want them to do it. If they don't, no, not acceptable, and correct them for it.
Good boy. I think a lot about this summer when you had Romeo in the round pen, and you had we kind of did it right here, but you wanted Romeo to stand in an exact spot.
Yes.
You didn't want his feet to move even an inch from where you were standing.
Right.
And you really demanded that perfection from him, and it took him a lot to...
It did, but once he did it, he would do it.
Yeah.
And that's where you get that you demand a high standard and hold them to it, and they will provide that for you. You have to teach them. But that way, whenever you ask them the smallest thing, they listen, and they're looking for, when you take that pressure off, they've done it right. So you're really mentally teaching them how to listen and what's acceptable to listen. And that's the difference between really good horsemanship and just acceptable horsemanship. It's the behavior of the horse, and it's us that's doing that. We're the ones that are allowing them to either be great or just be okay. You know.
I find it interesting. Here we have a horse who this is all new. It's all new to him. Yep. And my horse, Lux, she's off the track. And the first time I had him in a round pen, you talk about cheating a lot. And I would ask him to do something, and when he figured out that's what he was supposed to do, he went on autopilot, and he would do that before I ever asked. Yeah. So in a way, he's really smart, but in another way, he doesn't know how to learn and be present.
He's figuring out what's acceptable and giving you that.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. It's been really interesting with him. Even the first time I taught him to go through a gate, It was beyond his limits.
He's high strung.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Well, no, he's not.
Oh, isn't he?
No, he's super calm.
Really?
Super calm, lazy.
Okay.
Sensible.
I'm surprised. That's really not what you expect off of a track horse.
I know. He's definitely a lot different than I expected him to be. But I taught him to go through this gate, and we did it 2 or 3 times, and then he did it on his own. I didn't touch him. And he went through the whole procession of side passing, turn on the 4, and
all because he knew what was expected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's cool when we have a horse like this. It's all like you say, it's speaking their language, and it's instinctual,
right,
if you will.
Right. That's right.
And then you have a horse who's been synthesized in everything in his life. He's 6 years old, and he's never been in a field till I got him, and lived in a stall and had this job, and
don't know how to act.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a new job.
Totally.
A new job with no expectations of what is required, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty interesting. I wasn't able to really get through to him emotionally or mentally till I started riding him and challenging him from the saddle.
From the saddle, because you had more control.
Yeah. And now he's come around.
Good. Yeah, and you know, and some of those lessons, you don't necessarily get them all really well on the ground because you're just not getting through to them. But then when you get on their back, you can really drive that, because now you can be more physically in control than the mentally controlling part, and that's okay. I mean, there's no reason you can't do both, or go, okay, I'm not quite getting this, I'm going to work on this, and then try to bring that mental part to that through the physical. That makes sense, kind of a backdoor approach, and that's totally acceptable. There are no rules. That is the rule. There are no rules, right? I mean, you do what you need to do to make them safe.
Yeah.
Western or the U.S. training of horses is much different than European training. They have certification processes and stuff, and we're starting to work towards some of that. But most of that is our capitalism, which is great, building a business on this is what I do, follow this. But this is such a dynamic thing. This isn't building a car, you know, where you just stand there and you show somebody what to do repetitively, and it's the same thing and it never changes. These are thinking, feeling beings that respond differently at different times, different days, different weather conditions, different stimuli of any kind. So for you to have a certification process, and that's what I kind of struggle with sometimes with. Somebody says, well, I've been through this school and this is what we do, so I have a certification, I can do it all. No, you can do what was required of that certification. Just because they do that doesn't mean that they're doing anything at all. Mm-hmm. And that was kind of really driven home for me. And I've said that for years, but it was just more philosophically saw that. I had a woman come and want to purchase a horse, and she flew out from Oregon. And she said, I have a friend of mine that's right in your area that has gone through school and has a degree in equestrian studies, and she'd like to come with me. Is that okay? I said, absolutely, come on out. And they did, showed them what the horses would do, and I said, let's go on a small ride. And so we took them up on a couple sections that are, a couple of square miles of timbered area and open areas, and we're riding, and then we went off of the trail. And the moment we went off the trail, and I had this gal that was through had the degree in equestrian studies, was riding one of our older horses, my youngest son's horse. You can do anything with him, because I don't know this gal, And we started to get off this little trail and just go across a field, and she flipped out.
Wow.
And she started panicking because we weren't on the trail. And I'm like, okay, there's a hole there in her training.
Yeah.
Not necessarily her fault. I blame the program. If they let a person through there with an equestrian studies who should be doing, and I know they do active riding, there's an issue there. So she got through their course material, but really isn't competent. And so when we have in the U.S. we have this this mishmash really of, well, this works and this doesn't, or I do it this way. There's value in that, huge value when we have differences of opinion and methodology. Great value to that, because at that point you're being very, very flexible about, this is what I see, and you're exchanging information whether you know it or not. And like I say, you know, don't just listen to me. I'm going to ask you to during this, because we're, you know, I'm trying to pass on what I know, and I, by no means, I don't have all of the answers, but listen to anybody that you can possibly listen to, and listen to what they say, but always ask yourself why. What is it that makes this work, or why do you have this philosophy? And if they are very sound about it, they'll give you a reason why it works and why they're not doing something else, or in this case, instead of, because I have had people say, or listen to them say, well, this is just what we do. That's not good enough for me. Give me a reason. There you go. Good job. Give me reasons why. I need to concrete evidence of why this works. And they should be able to articulate that easily. Good job. There you go. Good. Good. Yeah, there's a difference between him balancing himself, because he had one foot back. If they want to put it up and stand instead of come forward and stand, that's fine. Balance, that's great. But yeah, you're doing a great job. Look at that eye. That eye is really nice and calm, quiet.
Good boy.
Good.
I used to work with this thoroughbred. She was 5 last summer. I don't know what her history was, really. She loved to jump. And when I jumped her, she was completely in her element, and she was just a powerhouse. But on the ground, you would just go up and touch her, and she'd pin her ears. And she couldn't be touched. You could saddle her, and you could do everything, but she hated it. And she had these permanent, 5 years old, she had permanent wrinkles on her nose from her nose being flared. I mean, gosh, she was just wicked.
I know people like that, right?
Yeah.
You know, and look what kind of a miserable existence they have.
Oh, it was horrible. But once you got her in her element, jumping, then
she was fine.
Oh my gosh,
Loved
she
it.
was great. Yeah. But I don't know.
You had to get her there, though, right?
Yeah.
You go through all of this to get her where she was happy.
Poor thing, I didn't, you know.
That's funny. That's funny.
Maybe now I could go back and change that in her, work with it, but
you could.
It makes you wonder what was done to her, with her, what wasn't done.
Well, you know what it almost sounds to me like, you know, not knowing the horse, is that she's probably a fairly dominant horse.
Oh, really dominant,
right?
Yeah.
So she wants to do what she wants to do, and she's going to dominate you.
Mm-hmm.
And when she's doing what she likes, everything's great, but don't handle me, don't do anything until I want it done.
Yeah.
You know, and that, just that snotty, nasty, you know, spoiled people like that.
Yeah.
They're only pleasant when they get their way.
Yeah.
Right? And when they're not getting their way, they're not pleasant.
Yeah, she would even turn her hind end to me when I went to catch her up.
Yeah, because she doesn't know what's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
And just leave me alone. Yeah, I'm not surprised. And very dominant, trying to dominate you.
Mm-hmm.
This is going so well. This is good.
Good boy.
This is good.
Good boy.
Okay. Do we put him away for a bit then? And
yeah, I'm thinking when Romeo goes back.
Okay.
Romeo's kind of a little snot sometimes. I've been riding him a lot since the expedition.
Yep.
I've totally fallen in love with that horse.
You and was it Laura was riding him?
No, Christine.
Was Christine riding
Yeah.
him? Okay. Oh, yeah. Who was Laura riding?
Oh.
Rocket? Okay. I can't remember. Yeah, Christine was struggling with him a little bit because he was being just a
Laura.
creep, you know.
Yeah, he's still kind of antsy with brushing, and what changed it with us was I had to ride him for some reason. I think there was a big ride, and I wasn't particularly thrilled on riding him because I knew how he could be kind of pushy, and I was saddling, but I had some extra time, and every time he pinned his ears, I'd just stay there and brush him and brush him and brush him in that spot till he
would give up.
Yeah, and a big sigh, And now he's totally different around me. Occasionally he'll try walking over me on the mounting block or something, but then we just address it there. But he's quiet and soft and
does he change his behavior with much less time? I mean, almost quicker and quicker all the time?
Yeah.
Exactly.
And, you know, it really changed when you worked with him in the round pen. I remember as soon as I led him back to the corral,
changed.
he just had this air about him, like, oh my gosh, what happened to me?
I've been reprogrammed. That's funny.
He just walked into the corral like, oh, you guys, something happened. Don't go out there. Poor guy.
That's great. All right, yeah, let's put him away.
Some lunch. How was your ride? Good. It wasn't too cold?